In the dim glow of a flickering street lamp on a rain-soaked Chicago evening, I stood alone outside our tiny apartment building, the kind where the walls were thin enough to hear the neighbors' dreams crumbling just like mine. My name is Alex Thompson, and back then, I was just a 25-year-old mechanic with grease-stained hands and a heart full of unyielding hope. The year was 2015, and the city buzzed with ambition. But for me, life was a relentless grind of overdue bills and empty promises. Yet in the midst of that chaos, there was Emily, my Emily, the woman who had turned my world from gray to golden. We met in college, two broke kids chasing dreams on scholarships that barely covered ramen noodles. She was studying art history with eyes like storm clouds and a laugh that could chase away the darkest nights. I was in engineering, tinkering with gadgets in the dorm basement, dreaming of inventing something that would change the world. Our first date was a picnic in Grant Park, sharing a single sandwich under the stars. "Alex," she whispered that night, her head on my shoulder, "as long as we're together, we don't need anything else." I believed her. We married young, at 23, in a courthouse ceremony with paper flowers and borrowed rings. Our honeymoon was a weekend drive to Lake Michigan, where we promised forever on a windy beach. But forever has a way of cracking under pressure. Our apartment was a shoebox in a rundown neighborhood where the heat flickered on and off like our bank account. I worked double shifts at the auto shop, fixing cars for folks who drove off in luxury while I scraped by on minimum wage. Emily waitressed at a diner, her artist hands calloused from carrying trays. We'd come home exhausted, collapsing into each other's arms, whispering plans for a better life. "One day I'll build us a house with a garden," I'd say, tracing her face in the moonlight. She'd smile, but her eyes held a shadow I couldn't quite read. The cracks started small. Bills piled up. Rent, utilities, that unexpected hospital visit when I sprained my ankle on the job. We argued more, not out of anger, but out of fear. "Alex, we can't keep living like this," she'd say, her voice trembling as she stared at the eviction notice. I'd promised to find a better job, to sell my old inventions, a prototype for a smart home device I'd been tinkering with in our cramped kitchen. But rejections came like rain. Investors laughed, banks denied loans. Emily's dreams faded too. Her canvases gathered dust as survival took precedence. One fateful night, after a particularly brutal shift, I came home to find her bags packed by the door. The air was thick with unspoken words. She stood there, tears streaming down her cheeks, wearing the faded blue dress from our wedding day. "Alex, I love you," she choked out, "but this poverty, it's killing us. I can't watch you break anymore. I need more than this." My world shattered. I begged, pleaded, fell to my knees. "Emily, please. We'll make it work. I swear I'll change everything." But she shook her head, her hand trembling as she removed her ring and placed it on the table. "I'm sorry," she whispered, and just like that, she walked out into the rain, vanishing into the night like a ghost. I collapsed against the wall, the ring cold in my palm. The silence was deafening. How could love, so pure and fierce, crumble under the weight of empty pockets? Days blurred into weeks of agony. I barely ate, barely slept. Friends tried to console me. "She's not worth it, man." But they didn't understand. Emily wasn't just my wife. She was my anchor, my muse. Her absence left a void that echoed with what-ifs. I stared at my half-finished inventions, scattered across the floor, and something ignited inside me, a fire born of heartbreak. "If poverty drove her away," I muttered to the empty room, "then I'll conquer it. I'll build something unstoppable." Little did I know the path ahead would test every fiber of my being, revealing secrets I never imagined. As I picked up my tools that night, the rain pounding against the window like a drumbeat of fate, I wondered if success could mend a broken heart or if it would only uncover deeper wounds. With Emily's ring tucked into my pocket like a talisman of pain, I threw myself into the unknown. The apartment felt haunted, so I sold what little we had and moved into a dingy basement workshop in an industrial part of town, where the hum of machines drowned out my loneliness. Days turned into sleepless nights as I refined my invention, a compact, affordable smart energy device that could optimize home power usage, cutting bills by half. It was born from our struggles, remembering those winter nights when we'd huddle under blankets because we couldn't afford heat. If I can help others avoid this hell, I thought, maybe it'll heal me too. But success doesn't come easy to the brokenhearted. I started small, prototyping with scavenged parts from junkyards. My first pitch was to a local investor at a coffee shop. He laughed in my face. "Kid, the market's flooded. Go back to fixing cars." Rejection after rejection piled up, each one a dagger twisting in my gut. I took odd jobs, delivering pizzas, freelancing repairs to fund my dream. Hunger became a companion. I'd skip meals to buy components. Isolation crept in. Friends drifted away, tired of my obsession. "Alex, you're destroying yourself," my sister called from California. But I couldn't stop. Emily's words echoed, "I need more than this." I'd show her. I'd show everyone. Months blurred into a year. I networked at tech meetups, my clothes threadbare, my eyes hollow. One night, at a startup event in a sleek downtown loft, I met Marcus, a venture capitalist with a sharp suit and sharper instincts. He listened to my pitch, eyes narrowing. "Intriguing," he said, "but you look like hell. What's driving you?" I hesitated, then spilled it all. The poverty, the divorce, the fire in my veins. He nodded. "Pain's the best fuel. Let's talk numbers." With his seed funding, I launched EcoSpark, my company. We rented a small office, hired a skeleton team of fellow dreamers. The device hit beta testing, and early reviews glowed. Revolutionary for low-income families. Growth exploded. Partnerships with utility companies rolled in. By year 2, EcoSpark was valued at $5 million. I moved to a modest condo overlooking the lake, but luxury felt hollow. I'd drive past our old apartment, wondering where Emily was. Rumors reached me. She'd moved to New York, pursuing art. I resisted the urge to search her out. Pride held me back. Instead, I poured everything into the business. We expanded to solar integrations, app controls. Media called me a rags to riches phenom. Interviews in Forbes, TED Talks. Suddenly, I was the poster boy for perseverance. But at night, alone with my success, I'd clutch her ring and weep. Was this what she wanted? A man made of money, empty inside? Then came the twist that shattered my world anew. It was a crisp autumn day in 2018, 3 years after she left. EcoSpark had just gone public, stocks soaring to make me a multimillionaire overnight. I was in my office, toasting with the team, when my assistant buzzed, "A woman here to see you. Says it's urgent." My heart skipped. Could it be? I straightened my tie, pulse racing. She walked in, not Emily, but a stranger with familiar storm cloud eyes. "Mr. Thompson," she said, voice steady but edged with emotion. "I'm Laura, Emily's sister. You need to know something." She placed a photo on my desk. A little girl, about 2 years old, with my curly hair and Emily's smile. "Her name is Mia. She's your daughter." The room spun. Emily had been pregnant when she left? Laura explained. Emily discovered it days before walking out. Terrified of trapping us deeper in poverty, she chose to go alone, raising Mia in secrecy. "She didn't want to burden you," Laura said, tears welling. "But now, with your success, she thought you should know. Emily's sick, Alex, cancer. She needs help, but her pride, it's like yours." Shock crashed over me like a wave. All this time I'd built an empire on anger, thinking she'd abandoned me for greed. But it was sacrifice, love twisted by fear. I gripped the photo, tears blurring the child's face. How could I have not known? The empire I'd forged felt meaningless now, a monument to misunderstanding. Numb with revelation, I stared at the photo of Mia, my daughter, a piece of Emily and me I'd never known existed. Laura's words hung in the air. Cancer. The word clawed at my soul. Where is she? I demanded, voice breaking. Laura gave me an address in Brooklyn, a modest apartment where Emily had rebuilt her life as a gallery curator. Go to her, Alex, before it's too late. I booked the next flight, my multi-million-dollar world fading into irrelevance. The jet hummed beneath me, but my mind raced through memories. Our beach vows, her tearful goodbye. Had she carried this secret to protect me? The thought both warmed and devastated me. Landing in New York, the city pulsed with energy, but I felt like a ghost. I hailed a cab to Brooklyn, the photo clutched in my hand. The building was quaint, with flower boxes in windows, a far cry from our Chicago shoebox. My knock echoed. The door creaked open, and there she was, Emily, thinner, paler, but those eyes, still storms I could lose myself in. Alex, she whispered, shock freezing her features. Behind her, a toddler peeked out, clutching a stuffed bear. Mia. My heart shattered and reformed in an instant. We sat in her cozy living room, sunlight filtering through lace curtains. Mia played at our feet, oblivious to the storm. Emily explained everything. The positive test, the fear of dooming us to deeper struggle. I thought if I left, you'd be free to chase your dreams without a family weighing you down, she said, voice fragile. I was wrong. So wrong. Tears streamed as I knelt before her. Emily, you were my dream, and now, this. I glanced at Mia, who toddled over, offering me her bear. In that moment, the empire I'd built paled against this tiny miracle. The cancer was stage 2, treatable but grueling. I insisted on the best care. Top specialists, experimental therapies funded by EcoSpark's resources. You don't have to, she protested. I do, I replied. For us. For her. We moved her and Mia to Chicago, into a home with that garden I'd promised. Chemo days were hell, holding her hand as nausea racked her, reading stories to Mia while Emily rested. But in the pain, love rekindled. We'd talk for hours, about regrets, dreams deferred. I never stopped loving you, she confessed one night, her head on my shoulder like old times. Neither did I whispered, slipping her ring back on her finger. As Emily fought, I scaled back at EcoSpark, delegating to focus on family. The business thrived, hitting $50 million in valuation, but success now meant more. I launched a foundation for low-income families facing medical crises, inspired by our story. Mia became my light, her giggles filling the house, her first words, Dada, mending wounds I thought eternal. Emily's treatments worked. Remission came like a dawn after endless night. We remarried in Grant Park, under those same stars with Mia as flower girl. Vows renewed, stronger for the scars. Years passed. EcoSpark revolutionized energy access worldwide. But my true legacy was this, a family forged in fire. Emily's art flourished, her paintings gracing galleries, themes of resilience and love. Mia grew into a bright teen, tinkering with gadgets like her dad. We'd sit on the porch watching sunsets, grateful for second chances. Looking back, poverty didn't break us. Silence did. But from ashes rose not just wealth, but wisdom. Society whispers that money defines worth, that love falters without it. Yet true riches lie in connection, forgiveness, and the courage to communicate. Persevere through darkness, for light awaits. Cherish those you love. Share burdens, not hide them. In the end, it's not the millions that matter, but the moments that make us whole.